When it comes to sex, it seems there are a lot of misconceptions and downright misinformation floating around out there. So how to sort the fact from fiction? Well, joining us to sort through the top sex myths is Amy O'Connor, editor-in-chief of health.com. Amy, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So when your experts at health.com were going through all of this information, did it surprise you at all to see how much misinformation people were accepting as fact?
You know, not really, because when it comes to sexual health, women whisper in each other's ears and tell each other things, and a lot of women go online and get misinformation from the web. So there is a lot of bad information out there.
A lot of it is floating around out there. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about, and you'll tell us whether it's true or not, is that you can catch an STD from a toilet seat. A lot of people believe that to be true.
Yes, my grandmother's one of them. It's a myth.
Okay.
And the reason is that urine is actually sterile. You can't carry viruses or bacteria in urine. So if you're on a toilet seat, which you probably shouldn't be anyway, but you're not going to get an STD. However, what you need to know is that you can get an STD from kissing or even skin contact with someone that has one.
That is good to know. Are there other things that you can get from the toilet seat besides the STD?
It's a good idea to put one of those covers on.
That's always a good idea.
Especially if you're in a public toilet.
Now, another one that is big is that you cannot get pregnant while you are having your period. A lot of people believe that to be the case.
Right, and it's true. The odds are against getting pregnant when you're having your period, but you can get pregnant, especially if you're one of those women that has a long period, meaning a week, which a lot of us do. So it's really important to use protection at all times. Another thing women need to know is that sperm can live in your body for 72 hours. So if you're having unprotected sex at any time, you can get pregnant later.
So you therefore can get pregnant towards the end of your cycle if you're having sex towards the end of your cycle.
Exactly.
Is that right? Okay. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, another one that a lot of women believe is that the birth control makes you gain weight.
Yeah, birth control pills, this is a myth. Birth control pills do not make you gain weight. There have been many, many studies about this. And the old birth control pills probably did. The modern ones have such low levels of hormones, they don't make you gain weight. So it's really important that you always use contraceptive, because nothing makes you gain weight more than an unplanned pregnancy,
right.
People. On the other hand, it's important for women to know that if they're really worried about gaining weight, they probably shouldn't do an injectable birth control pill.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, because isn't there a link to gaining weight with the birth control shot?
The birth control shot may make you gain a very small amount of weight, about 11 pounds over 3 years. So if you're one of those women that really is worried about gaining any weight whatsoever, stick to the pill or another form of contraception.
Why do you think this myth is so widespread? Do you think a lot of women feel bloated when they're on the pill and therefore they think they're gaining weight?
What studies have shown is that women gain weight for all sorts of reasons. And they tend to blame their birth control pills because, like I mentioned, in the old days, birth control pills could make you gain weight. So they don't anymore, but women want a reason, and that's a good scapegoat.
So that lingers, that thought lingers. All right.
Yes.
Another one that a lot of people believe is that if you get the HPV shot, you are safe from cervical cancer.
The HPV vaccine is very important, and every woman should get one. However, it doesn't protect against all cervical cancer. About 30% of cervical cancers will be caused even if you have the HPV vaccine. That's why it's very important that you get your Pap test every year and see your gynecologist regularly.
And then speaking of the Pap test, it is sort of received knowledge to a lot of people that you just got to go to get your first Pap smear when you turn 18. Every woman needs to get her Pap smear at 18.
Yeah, that's a myth. It is the old truth, but it's a current myth because now doctors are saying women need to get their Pap test when they're 21 and or they've been sexually active for 3 years.
Why that change?
Well, that changes because the HPV virus actually can live for 3 years and it can go away by itself. So it's not really a big deal to get a Pap test if you're under 21, but doctors are saying now women don't need to go through. I mean, it's not a pleasant experience, right?
Sure.
So if you can avoid it or your daughter can avoid it, that's a good thing. Also, if you don't have insurance, it's something you don't have to spend money on if you're under 21.
Another one that's important to set the record straight for all the young people out there is this idea that the first time you have sex, you just can't get pregnant.
Right. This is a really dangerous myth because it's absolutely not true. Not only is it not true, But if it's the first time you're having sex, you're probably quite young, relatively young. Younger women are much more fertile than older women. So you're much more likely to get pregnant young than you are old. So please use contraception at all times if you're having sex.
It's so true, because a lot of women think, oh my gosh, if I'm trying to get pregnant, it could take me months, maybe a year.
Yeah.
But like you said, the first time could be the charm.
Right, and young women don't often make the best decisions, and they take risks, so they think there's all sorts of ways they can avoid it. The absolute only way to prevent pregnancy safely is to use contraception at all times.
Now, obviously, we've talked about how much misinformation there is out there, and thank you for clearing some things up. But where can people go if they really want to get the straight story? Where can they get reliable information about sex and their bodies?
Well, if you go on health.com, there are a couple of great sites that we can direct you to. One is called Go Ask Alice, which is a great site maintained by Columbia University, which is a trusted source, of course. The Center for Young Women's Health, Teens Health, and Teen Wire. These are all educational, so-called .org, so they're nonprofits run by experts, not, misinformation providers, and they're really good sources.
It's very important to know, because as you said, one of the biggest sources of all this misinformation is the web.
Exactly.
So
you have to be careful which website you go to.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for helping us sort fact from fiction and setting the record straight.
Thank you.
Remember, for all your health and wellness needs, head to the health page at abcnews.com.